Hey everybody, welcome to Resonate. My name's Nick Main, I'm the Secretary of Resonate, and I'd just like to do a quick introduction to our technology. It's using a presentation which is available on our Basecamp and on our GitHub, but sometimes it helps to just have a voiceover to it. So let's start with what this is about. It's a presentation to really give a brief introduction, and it's of a landscape view, looks at all the things we've got, the services we have, and hopefully you'll be able to find in here where you can find at home and where you can pitch in to help us. Let's start though with, in this deck, with an explanation of why we're doing this, a little bit of context. If you've come here, you've probably seen a lot about the co-op and what it's about, so I won't spend too much on here, but there's some important points to make as we go along. Firstly, the player. We've got a new player coming soon, which looks a lot better than the one you'll see in this deck. Really exciting news. Why are we doing this? Why is Resonate here? Well, again, these are some of the sorts of things that why we're here and why we're different in the world of streaming. I'd just like to say here that the tech piece is part of a community, and the community is the thing which differentiates us from some of the other services. Take a look at some of these points in here, but that sense of community and cooperation and solidarity, bringing the tech together with the people, the artists and the listeners, is a really important part of this. And just to say that post COVID-19, this is going to be really important, because that solidarity among artists and listeners is the thing which hopefully will help listeners to learn something about how a different model of streaming can help. Enough of that, let's move on to the tech. First of all, we say that the style of the tech, the design style, is well established. It was established about 2-3 years ago, 2018, where there was some great design work done by a previous team. So real credit to the previous teams and all the people who worked from the outset on the design style of Resonate, which I think really stands out compared to some of the other things on the marketplace. The co-op, we have a website which is currently hosted in WordPress, but irrespective of the technology, look at some of the messages on there. There's some great messages, and a lot of that stuff which needs updating, but some good stuff on there. Our community, we use Discourse as our community server. We've only been using this for about a year and a half, and we could do a lot better on our Discourse setup and layout. But there's already a lot of great excitement and action in that community space there. We really see this as an area that we need to develop. And of course, you've seen earlier the player, which is a progressive web application. This is some of the original design content for this. You'll see in the new player a return to some of those great design values and style from the previous player, as well as some fantastic new features. They're fantastic for us. Playlisting at last has come back to us in a big way, so it's there's some great stuff in there. We are a service which is different from the other services. This thing about play fair, it really does mean something, and it is a collaborative service. I won't spend too much on that. We are all about scaling up now. We really do want to get bigger, so we've got about 2,000 artists, I think probably 15,000 tracks on the platform now. We're adding stuff every day thanks to Hakanto, our community services, and platform and welcoming managing team. They've done a great job. We're growing, but still we need to increase our plays rapidly, so we need to get up here in order for the co-op to generate a decent income for its artists, and also for those who are putting in the work to make this happen. Technology goals and principles, I won't mention some of these, but these are worth in any detail, but I will just say it is worth taking a look at some of these. I'll pick out a couple. Trusted platform, probity, security, compliance, trusted privacy. Trust is a vital part of a community service, so we need to be people who trust us with their data, their information, and also we need to show that we are managing that that information on the platform, properly, and that we comply with all the relevant rules and so forth. Developer friendly, we're a community service and we want devs to come in here and work with us and collaborate on this, because collectively our open source philosophy means that we can do better than, I think, in the long run, than some of the paid platforms which are funded by a small bunch of venture capitalists. Ecosystem friendly. We are at the center of a network, human-centric, collaborative governance, open source, W3, all of these things. Oh, and green IT, of course. So lots of principles there that I think everybody can sort of sign up to. So what actually have we got in Resonate? What have we got as a service? Well, this is what we have. So this is a high-level view of the services we have on the platform. So these are our users, effectively, just plain visitors to the site looking at the player. There are listeners, people who've signed up and are active members of our co-op and are listening regularly. Obviously, there are artists submitting music to the platform, and then there are staff, like me and others, who are keeping the show running, uploading tracks from artists and from independent labels, and keeping the site healthy generally. There's the website, which is, if you like, the outward view of what we are, the static information about what the co-op is, what it does. There's the player. There's the thing which serves the content being the art, the music, the tracks, the artwork, all the stuff which supports that, both on the player and on the website. And then we've got sort of search and discovery features and playlisting and that sort of stuff, which we also have around that. We have user management. Obviously, we need to look after that our user information in a trusted way. We have our forum, which enables users to interact in the community. And very, very important, we need to authenticate and authorize our users. So we know we are actually dealing with humans and not bots, that we are respecting basic privacy, and that we're not, in the interactions between these services, exposing user data in a nasty way. So basically, we need to do this stuff in a scalable and privacy-respecting way. We don't use big external identity providers. That's what that IDP thing means. We don't use Google, Facebook, and the others like that. We want to take control of that ourselves, so that we as a community... So what is our platform then? What do those services look like? Again, there's a list of them there. We just looked at them on that map. So there's a little table here which explains what they are and what they do and who uses them. This is some of the information we hold on the platform. So we need to hold information about co-op memberships. We need to hold just enough information about our listeners, not too much. We don't ask for any more than we would need, than we are required to do. There's our share transactions. And then there's obviously our artists and the way that they appear on the platform. So information that we cover on the platform. Now, but what is the implementation of that? Where are we now and where would we like to be? So this slide, I don't know if you can see this very well on this video, but I'll just explain it quickly. Where we are now is that we have a WordPress platform. So it's the WordPress, that's effectively the WordPress website management platform and tool, with a number of plugins behind it which help us register our users, maintain effectively a user database, and also collect form data. For instance, if you wanted to join as a member, you'd fill in a form. If you wanted to join as an artist, you fill in another form. If you wanted to upload a track to the service, you'd fill in another form. So there's a number of forms on here, but behind the scenes there's a very, very manual and labor intensive process involved in administering those, and also quite a lot of copying of data from the back end of that service into some rudimentary APIs. This is good news. API, we do have an API strategy, and we are trying to build a proper scalable back end, and those APIs feed our lovely new player. But our lovely new player has, at the moment, some back-end ugliness in that is using WordPress extracts and information to provide the information for it. So basically, when you may have noticed when you join in, when you're using the player and you click on a link to go to the to find out about the co-op, you may actually have another login to go through, and you may have to log into WordPress. So poor integration between these services. It's hardly seamless. Now, in the future, what we want to do is to remove, I'll move on to this, I'll come to that in a second. What we want to move to is a new service, a future architecture, which has moved off WordPress and puts much more emphasis on these back-end services. So instead of having a third-party WordPress website, we've got a proper website co-op service in there, which we'll build in a thing called Hugo, which is a really nice static website framework, very fast, elegant, beautiful, but static. It does what a website does and no more. Then what we call an admin dashboard, which does in a joined up, integrated way all the things that WordPress and those crazy forms do. So basically that admin dashboard gives us really nice secure control over the information which we keep in this little API castle back here. So this API castle is the thing which protects all our user information, our track information, the artwork and so on which goes along with those tracks, and of course the payments. No more ugly plugins on the back of this WordPress thing. Let's put those payments in a proper payment API, and let's keep this in a nice corral where it's protected, and make sure we've got nice protected access to these databases. So nobody gets into these without going through a protected envelope in here. And that is a request response RESTful interface to the services which are going to use that. So our admin dashboard, our player, we may have other apps on here which we develop in the longer term. We have an upload tool which helps us upload tracks. So that architecture is what we're going for. And it's been hard to do this because this takes time, it takes expertise, and those resources are scarce. So there's only been a few of us working on this so far, but we are getting the funds now to work on this, and we are growing fast. So your help is really would be really welcome, particularly in these areas here, in this back-end development area. I think we're probably getting to, that is more or less it for a quick overview. There is much more detail in this deck. So on the current picture, what we have, you can see here, and you can of what we have with WordPress, with Discourse, with our player. So this is where we are today, the existing, current, and then there's the future architecture. So we're moving from something which is different and fragmented with lots of off-platform data to something which is integrated, where all of our information is protected here, where we have an architecture around mobile service. Well, we really have a great mobile player through our progressive web application, but we might move in future towards native platforms here. We've got some exciting projects around identity in this area too, I think called community credentials, which will help us to secure our memberships much better, and to do exciting things around providing receipts for contributions to artists, support contributions, and create a greater sense of trust between artists and listeners in the digital world. I think that probably is just about it. Let's look through lots more information in the deck. There's also information on the website. Augustin has put some recent material up about our beta player. Please look at our GitHub. Please join our Basecamp and find that information in there. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your attention. You can join every Friday. We have a dev meetup call. Very welcome to ask further questions on there. Please join. It's between 4 and 4:30. That's UTC or Greenwich Mean Time. On Fridays, there's a running agenda for that meeting, which is just a sort of a say hi. It's an informal thing. We might have a topic of the week. There are notes, W3C style note taking. There's a list of notes which go with the meeting as well, so you can look at the sort of thing that we've discussed at previous meetings at that session. So again, all welcome to attend that too. Thank you very much for attention. Hopefully see you at the Friday meetup. Bye.